Alright, so I want you to imagine this as your reality. You've arrived at a party. You're walking into this room full of people who you don't know. You've come alone. You haven't got your friends to back you up or save you from any awkward conversations, and there's no chance of getting home. And right about now is usually when you start feeling this knot of anxiety in your stomach. Maybe your chest is starting to get a little bit heavy. Maybe you're thinking a little bit too much about your body language. Or what do I do with my hands? Am I standing a little bit awkwardly? But this time, it's not there. Those racing thoughts, those usual symptoms of anxiety, they're nowhere to be found. You feel grounded, fully present in the current moment as it's unfolding. Your mind is clear, focused, in control. This is exactly where you're supposed to be. So you start moving through the room now, and you're not rushing, you're not trying to avoid eye contact with other people or trying to blend in with the background. And without hesitation, you approach a group of total strangers and strike up a conversation. And fast forward an hour, you're effortlessly moving around this room, going from group to group. The conversation is just flowing. You are radiating confident energy. You feel like that guy, but you're stone cold sober. So I find it so interesting that people are out here emptying their bank accounts every weekend just for a couple of hours of feeling comfortable in themselves, of numbing that ever-present anxiety. And don't get me wrong, this used to be me. Like, I'd be meeting up with my friends for a night out or to go to the bar or the pub or something. And before I'd even got there, before I'd even arrived at the venue, I'd be like drinking a couple of beers at the very least, just to not feel so nervous and uncomfortable. And let me tell you something, bro. You shouldn't settle for that. You shouldn't have to feel like you need to be hammered and in the club just to approach a girl and let her know what your intentions are. You shouldn't have to rely on this temporary confidence that disappears as soon as you wake up in the morning. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to tap in to your natural confidence, to achieve drunken levels of social confidence without even taking a single sip of alcohol. And allow me to just put this out here before I begin the video. I've got this new Discord server that I would absolutely love you to be a part of. If you find this video valuable or constructive in any way, obviously I'm not gonna ask you to join if you hate the video, but if you find this video to be helpful in any way and you want to continue to level up your social skills or really just improve in any other realm of life, my Discord server is the perfect place for you. I am extremely active responding to my members, helping them out with any problems they are currently experiencing, and it's completely free. Like, this is a good deal for you. You do not stand to lose anything by being a member. So go down to the link in my description and join up. So between the ages of 17 and 18, I made quite an exciting new group of friends. And they showed me a side of life that I hadn't really experienced yet, which was the nightlife, going to parties, having good times, meeting girls. But if you've watched my videos before, then you'll know that part of my story is I went to an all-boys school. I had very limited experience with girls up to this point. I probably only kissed like one girl in my entire life at this age. So at these parties, meeting all these girls for the first time, I was very out of my element. I was very unsure of myself, and I'd like make an effort, but somehow I'd always end up standing on the fringes of one of my friends' conversations. Like, they'd be talking to the girl, I'd just be standing beside them, maybe like staring at the floor really awkwardly. And when I'd get home, I'd just be absolutely beating myself up. Like, why am I such an awkward little freak? Why can I not just speak to these girls and be funny and entertaining? Why am I not just being mobbed by Panani? And then I realized something. It was like a switch flipped in my head. This makes sense. For my situation in life, this is to be expected. Think about it. I go to an all-boys school. I have very limited experience with girls. I only have a handful of friends and I spend most of my time indoors on video games. I barely go outside. I have extreme social anxiety. I can't just expect to be fucking Timothée Chalamet, girls getting wet at the sight of me. I'm starting from ground zero, but speaking to you from a place of experience, having come from those absolute depths of anxiety, I can tell you very confidently that if you play it smart, it doesn't actually take that long to get good at socializing. And I'm going to tell you the secret. The secret is momentum. So I want you to visualize something. Think of the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, and he's giving a talk to over 200,000 of his employees at the same time. How does he get to that level of confidence, of being able to speak clearly and freely to that many people? The secret is, he didn't start by practicing on 200,000 people. He started with 2 people. Like seriously, imagine what would happen if you sent up some guy with no training, with no public speaking experience, to do a talk in front of 200,000 people. What do you think is gonna happen? He's probably gonna fuck up, he's gonna mess up his words, and he'll be too traumatized to ever try again. But if you were to lower the stakes right down to slightly above where your comfort zone resides, that is still gonna test you. It's still gonna be challenging, but it will give you the breathing room to practice, to make mistakes, to fuck up without feeling like the whole world is watching you. Bro, when I was trying to get over my debilitating fear of talking to strangers, I'd be walking around my city. I'd literally just stop hot girls for directions, just to ask for directions, nothing more. There wasn't any of this pressure to perform, to be funny or like entertaining. That was it. It was literally just like a 2-second interaction. And you know what? Each time I did that, I would get 1% less anxious than the last time. And gradually over time, those small wins began to add up in my mind, and I became more bold. I was more willing to try something even more daring the next time. And that is what momentum is. It is starting small. It's not putting too much pressure on yourself, just keeping the stakes very low. Maybe like a conversation with a shop worker, or doing what I did, like asking girls for directions. Or maybe even just like giving a compliment to a stranger. Just gradually pushing your comfort level upwards and upwards, step by step, until you feel like you're actually capable of doing this. You can do this and more beyond that. And honestly, don't expect to get it right the first time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Remember that this all or nothing mindset, this mindset of perfectionism, is the reason why most people don't even say anything. It's always better to just focus on what you can do, even if it's something small, than trying to live up to this impossible standard of being perfect. Like, it just doesn't exist. That is what momentum is all about. Okay, so on to the next thing. I haven't ever really talked about this openly, what I'm about to tell you, but whenever I was out and about with my friends on a night out at the pub, I'd always be the first person to order a round of drinks for everyone. Like within 15 minutes of us turning up, everyone there would have a shot in their hands that I had ordered. And there was a very specific reason for that I didn't really like to tell people. It was because I didn't feel comfortable in myself. I didn't trust the sober version of myself to be able to entertain my friends for even 5 minutes, to be able to initiate those conversations, to express myself freely. I didn't feel like I could do that until all of us had had a drink. I think the part of drinking that people love is this removal of inhibitions, of being able to get away with saying something dumb or kind of embarrassing yourself. It kind of blurs the line between what would be considered awkward and socially acceptable. Like, if you fuck up, you know people aren't gonna hold it against you because they're all drunk. And you yourself are probably gonna have forgotten the stupid thing you said within 5 minutes. But with me, I honestly had trouble just opening up to anyone. Like, I used to portray to the world that I just didn't care about anything, that I just didn't give a fuck. And that was more of like a survival response to being in school and all of the trauma that brings. So the only time you'd ever really see this mask come off was when I was drunk. But my authentic self, when that actually came through, was, and still kind of is, quite goofy. Like, I have this side of me that is very childish. I have a very childish sense of humor that most people wouldn't get to see. And maybe I thought that my friends or other people wouldn't be able to tolerate that unless they were drunk. But I've realized something. After years of pushing my comfort zone, of failing more times than I can remember, of making a complete fool out of myself, is that you think people forget easily when they're drunk. Bro, people forget easily full stop. So there's this well-documented concept in psychology called the spotlight effect, which basically shows just how much the average person overestimates what other people are thinking of them, how much other people are paying attention to their words, their actions, their appearance. So basically, as part of this study, they ran this experiment where they had a couple of students dress up in embarrassing t-shirts. They had like an embarrassing image really large on the front. And then they had these students go into an extremely public place. And then from there, they had to estimate the percentage of people that noticed them, that were paying attention to what they were wearing. So these students, they estimated that 50% of people noticed what they were wearing, when the actual amount was around 20%. And even fewer than 20% could actually like remember what the image was on the front. So I think that shows that we have this belief that other people are hyper fixated on our flaws, the mistakes we make in conversations, all our fuck ups, our awkward moments. Bro, give it an hour. Most people won't even be able to remember what that conversation was about. And that is just the small things, like the things I've seen in my life that people have forgotten. You wouldn't believe. Like, I'm gonna tell you. So there was this guy who I went to university with, and within the first few weeks of us being there, he decided to take this absolutely mega dose of acid, of LSD. And this guy was tripping balls, man. Like, he started hallucinating that his skin was on fire. So do you know what he does next? He runs outside because he sees that it's raining. He strips off all his clothes, and this guy is literally running around naked. And people are like filming him. Like, I'm seeing the clips of him up on social media. But literally only like a month after this ordeal, I'm at this party with my friends and I see this guy rock up like nothing ever happened. No one even bats an eyelid that this guy's here. And this whole thing that was made out to be like such a massive deal, it's like it didn't even happen. Imagine what I'm thinking in that moment. I'm at this party drinking just to feel comfortable in myself. And this guy who's gone to literal hell and back, he probably saw hell in these hallucinations. He's here just chilling and no one's acting like anything's even happened. In that moment, I saw with my own eyes, people just don't care. People care too much about their own lives to be hyper fixating on you, to be analyzing all of your like actions and behaviors. They're trying to control how they're being perceived. They don't even have enough headspace in their brain to be thinking about you. So stop taking yourself so seriously. People forget. So bro, I know this video has suddenly just gotten very dark. I hope you can still see me. I might have to turn up the exposure a little bit, but I hope this has been valuable for you. I hope you've learned a few lessons of how you can tap into that natural confidence instead of having to rely on alcohol, because this is the way forward. These are social skills that stay with you forever. So if you put the time in, I promise you it'll be worth it. Again, one more reminder, scroll down to the link in the description, join my Discord server right now, you won't regret it. That is all from me this evening, bro. Take care and I will see you in the next one.